Morning everyone, it's Julia from Crosspatch. Monday morning, just done my post. It's actually raining outside, so hurrah, the grass might get some green back in it. I just wanted to update you on some Hexie flower stuff I'm doing for Create and Craft next month. Someone commented that I rushed last time I did a Hexie flower demo, so I'm going to try and calm down. I've done half an hour of yoga and I'm chilled now, so let's get going. I've tried to get organised, so I've got my Hexie flowers, if in case you're wondering what Hexie flowers are, and I've stuck them on a black board so you can see them. So these are the original Hexie flowers, so these are the nesting Hexie flowers, so there's 3 sizes, and this is the big boy. So the big boy, here's the big boy flower, and here's the big boy Hexie. So we'll get to them in a minute. Let's put them to one side. So Hexie flowers, what are Hexie flowers for? Well, Hexie flowers make all sorts of interesting stuff. Now you can see some underneath me. Here's some samples here. Here's the latest one. So this is a cushion that I'm doing for Create and Craft in September 17th and 18th. You'll notice I use a lot of French General because it's my favourite fabric. Here's a little mat I've made. Here's another one, French General again, OBS. And another mat here, blue and white one. I love the patterns the petals make on these. Let's put them to one side and then we can get some more out. Let's move the cushion. Christmas, they're really good for Christmas. Here's a Christmassy one. So that's Macawa Christmas glitzy fabric. And then bags. So when you buy your Hexie flowers, you'll get instructions on making the little table mats, table runners, and for the bags. So obviously you've got 3 Hexie flowers, you can make 3 sizes of bags. So this is the biggest one. And then inside that is the next size. This is a medium size Hexie flower. Nice art gallery fabrics on that. And then inside that one is baby size. Again, art gallery fabrics I used on that. So these are really handy for actually keeping your Hexie flowers in, so you know where they are. So those are the 3 sizes you can make with your Hexie flowers. And then here's another one over here. So there's a little baby sized one. And then I think inside I've got a little needle book. So if you just make 2 Hexie flowers, you can make a nice cute little needle book. Just put some wool felt in the middle. 2 Hexie flowers, stitch them together along the back. Okay, so let's go through how we make them. Now there's 2 ways of making them. You can either use calico, you can use normal fabric, or you could use a yarn dye. So this is made with a yarn dye. Let's grab this one from under here. I haven't shown you this blue one. So that's a yarn dye. So the difference being, if you use a yarn dye, I use 1 piece of fabric to cut out my flower with, and it gives like a shabby chic look because it will eventually fray around the edges. Using the calico, you're using 2 bits of fabric. So I'm going to start off with, if you're using your Hexie flowers, starting with your flower, this is your flower template, and this is what you'll cut round to begin with. So this will form the petals. The Hexie obviously forms a bit in the middle. So on the nesting Hexie flowers, you've got 3 sizes. So if you're using the biggest size, which this one is, you want the biggest size Hexie to go with it. So what you're going to do, let's move these to one side, is you will draw around your flower onto some calico. Now I've got 2 bits of calico here together. I've drawn round the flower with a pen onto the fabric, and then all I've done, I'll hold it nearer the camera, is I've stitched on that line. So that line, that drawn line, is your stitching line, so add 1/4 inch seam allowance onto that. When you've stitched all round, if you snip in these little sides here, so that when you turn it inside out you won't get like ruching. To turn it inside out, you just need to slit a hole and turn it inside out. Now here's one, because I'm doing the French general ones for Create and Craft. Here's a French general one. So you do, if you're doing it with 2 bits of fabric, you're going to waste one fabric because you don't really see it on the inside. So the most economical way of doing it would be to have the bit that you cut made of calico and the other bit to be fabric, so you don't actually waste the nice fabric. But I've traced around on 2 pieces of French general and I've slit a hole in the middle, and then I'm going to turn it inside, right sides out should I say. And you've ended up, you've still got that slit there, but you haven't got to worry about that because that is going to be covered. So if you take your corresponding hexie and draw around some iron-on wadding, so this is H630 wadding. If you want it more padded, use H640. So cut a load of these and iron them on the back of your fabric, and then you just put it on top of your hexie flower. So I've pinned that on top of my hexie flower. Obviously that's going to cover the slit in the fabric and you're never going to know that was there. Next job is just to fold the petals over. So you're going to fold the petals over and sew them. So there's 2 ways of doing this. You could, well, 3 ways really. You could just slip stitch them over, or you can use a running stitch and make a feature of them. Or this lot, I've decided to experiment and see if I could do it on the sewing machine. So if I hold them close, you can see I've done those on the sewing machine. A lot quicker. And when you've got sore hands after cutting hundreds and thousands of pieces of French general fabric, I needed to use a sewing machine to do those. If you want to make a cushion, so this is the cushion, I've made a rosette with my Hexie Flowers. So let's grab, how do I make a rosette? So all you do, one in the middle, and then arrange the others around the side to make your rosette, just like making normal, if you had normal hexie paper piecing, rosette, like so. And all I've done is layer them onto, I've used one of my cross patch 6-packs. So a 6-pack is basically 6.5-inch squares of fabric, like a charm pack, but they're 6.5-inch squares. So I've put 9 of them together. I've sewn them together, trimmed them to make sure they're all 6.5 inches. I've joined 9 together, then I've just put my finished rosette on top of them, and again I've stitched around the edges with the machine, all around the edge, and then I've gone in the ditch around the middle hexagon to keep it in place. Slip stitching them together, I use this, it's like a lace making thread. It's a Vinca Spanish, I think you pronounce that bolillos. So it's a lace making thread. It's quite fine, but it's quite strong. And all you will do is slip stitch them together. Hang on, I've got my thread caught around the other hexie there. Just slip stitch them together on the back, like so. And then when you get to the corner, so just open it out and then fold it again, so the next 2 bits are together, and then just continue sewing to the end. So they're really easy to sew together. Needles, if you're wondering what needles I use, my favourite tulip number 8 embroidery needles. When I use calico, sometimes I use the tulip applique needles, which are really fine and really hard to thread, but I find they go through the calico easier. Right, that's those. Next one, if you were using, I've done a load in wool as well. So if you're using wool or yarn dye, you're only using 1 bit of fabric. So obviously you've got a raw edge. So you can just do a running stitch around them, or you can do a blanket stitch. So this is some tweed from the Welsh woolen mill down the road. And I've just made something with this. So again, it's the same principle. Iron your centre fabric onto some iron-on wadding and then fold it over. I pin all these down, and then I've done on this one, I've done a blanket stitch around the edge on this one. So this one I did yesterday. So I've just used some I used some Valdani, bright Valdani perlé thread to stitch that. So I've just done a blanket stitch around the petals, join them together in a rosette, and then around the outer edge I've done a running stitch, makes it a bit more, doesn't stretch so much as it were. Obviously this, again, it's more like a shabby chic look because it will fray a little bit. If you can see underneath, these are big boys, these ones I've made, these table runners with. So these were yarn dye thread, and I used a nice Valdani perlé thread again to go around the edge of those. So the big boy is exactly the same principle, he's just a big boy. So he's a big flower and a big hexagon. This is a 6-pack that I was talking about. So the 6-packs are perfect for the nesting templates because you'll fit both the flower on it and the hexagon. If you were doing a big boy project, you'd need more like a layer cake size, although you can fit the hexagon on. So if you're doing a calico style one, you'll fit the hexagon just about on the 6-pack ones, but you'll need like a layer cake size for the flower. I think that's about it on Hexie Flowers. I'm working on some new templates for making stars and flying geese, so I'm going to give you a sneak peek. This is what I did yesterday. So all day Sunday yesterday I was making this. So French General again, obvs, just star blocks and flying geese around the edge, but I've developed some templates that make it really easy to cut out, because when you're trying to cut out squares of fabric that are 2 3/8 or 3 7/8, it's a bit of a nightmare. So they will make it easy for doing that. So that will be coming next month. And so are my little pincushions. Is my bunny, he's coming to Create and Craft next month. So there's a bunny, there's a piggy, and there's a little sausage dog. And I can turn the camera around now just to give you a laugh, just to show you the chaos that I work in the shed, and you'll see the 10 million pieces of French General fabric I've just sewn together just to finish off. So here we go. I can't see what I'm showing you now. There we go. This is the chaos that is the shed at the moment. There we are, lights, camera, diggers outside, bags and stuff everywhere, quilts everywhere. There's Joyce. Hello, Joyce. Well, thank you for watching my crazy randomness. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll get back with something more sensible when I've finished doing my new templates in a couple of weeks. Have a good week and see you soon.